Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. This is DSP News, the unreliable ones. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the newsroom and welcome to the Goutopia News Network, your unreliable source for DSP News. This is the Snort Report. Let's go. Ladies and gentlemen, we're here at one of our favorites, Snort Burnell, Dspgaming. It's never, ever enough money, and it never will be. And a good bait overflows the salt. Now, ladies and gentlemen, as we know, excuse me, for any of you who have been around for any period of time, Phil's lust for money is insatiable. Insatiable. He'll never be able to get over it. It comes from a couple of different factors. One, him as an individual, taking a Sargon quote. It also comes from his jealousy and envy of other people who are much more successful than him. Also comes from a sense of self-entitlement. Take your pick your poison, whatever, you know. Pick whatever flavor pork ribs that I have over there on the grill for you. Either one of them can apply in more ways than one. So that's just kind of how Phil gets down. To be honest with you, that's probably how Phil's always been. He's always looked at other people and what they've had and always been like, well, why can't I have those things? Not caring in the slightest the amount of work that went into it or the saving that went into it. He just assumes that people who are rich just go out there and just buy whatever the fuck they want. Granted, for some rich people that is a thing. That means just Phil watches way too much television. But for anybody else, you save for those things. You know what I'm saying? You learn how to haggle, you learn how to bargain, things of that sort. People like Phil don't understand that. So that is what it is. So greed is greed, and he will continue on his campaign for greed, or with greed, I should say, as long as he can. It's a bedfellow. It's probably the one thing in life that'll never leave him, so it's the one thing that he may actually hold loyalty to and truly love. Now, as it pertains to the salt overflowing, Phil's been falling for the bait quite a bit. I don't know what this bait's going to be. Hopefully it sounds good. Hopefully it was worthwhile. I couldn't tell you. These next couple of videos, we're kind of just going to go into it together, so I'm just assuming what's going on from the title, and we'll just have a good time with it. But it doesn't take much to trigger Phil these days, to be honest with you. His desperation's up at an all-time high. He's very vulnerable, given that he's just lost some mods. And even though, at the point that I'm recording this, supposedly Swaggins is supposed to be making his way back in, or maybe it's fake Swaggins, who could say? I wonder how much Swaggins had to throw down for that. Certainly not the 100,000 bits that he promised, but you know, it is what it is. Not every man can live up to his word. He's in a very vulnerable position. He's just, it's almost like the whole world is probably crashing on him, and he really doesn't know what to do, and he's running out of people to rely on. And if he is relying on anybody, it's behind the scenes until we find that out, which will happen sooner than later. He'll fall for another email scam or something. It's Phil. He's an idiot, and he's greedy, and he's stupid. So he'll fall for something. And as I've said before, ladies and gentlemen, as long as anybody's willing to give him $1, he'll lie. He'll pretend that he only got 50 cents. It is what it is. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's just go ahead and get to the broadcast proper. I hope you guys are doing well today, right? And I hope the rest of your day goes well. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Snort Report, and this is DSP News. Always late, never breaking. Unreliable coverage that you can't count on. Oh yes, a GTG, Network and Productions. You guys all know the slogan. It's time to watch me work. Cutting back on the bacon today. It's going to be more of a coffee, cappuccino, chill type thing. So don't worry, I didn't forget the slogan. You know what I'm saying? There is no bacon cooking because there's no bacon planned for the menu today. Oh shit. So I didn't forget.
is an epic fucking intro, dude.
And I have to warn everyone, warning, what you may see right now is going to be absolutely disgusting.
Not going to do any more gameplay or anything tonight. So I do appreciate those who contributed. It just sucks that basically because this was a recap video, I got like no contributions tonight. I mean, I got 1 cheer and 1 tip. That sucks. Wow.
I'm looking forward.
Well, that's hurtful. Ladies and gentlemen, we're here with Snort Burnell, Dspgaming. It's never enough money, and it never will be. And a good bait overflows the salt. That's why I don't leave the salt shaker on the table. But that's just me. Here we go.
To getting back into the swing of normal streaming. I know the last 2 days the schedule's been all over the place. I apologize for that. It is what it is. That's what happens when E3 happens. But now, you know, the days are going to go back to normal streaming times and everything. So I hope to see you here on the regular. Very nice. Good stuff. I also want to say thanks to those who were supportive the past couple of days. I'll be very honest. With the E3 stuff and the schedule weird and everything, it kind of derailed stuff. We had really good momentum with support and everything on streams. In the past couple of days, things basically got derailed when I was barely doing any gameplay. I'm hoping we can remedy that today, bringing back gameplay regularly to the streams again. Because I really need your support right now, as I've been telling you guys. Right now, financially, I'm in the worst position I've ever been in my life.
The hilarious part about Moron.
Now, the funny thing is, ladies and gentlemen, is he's not taking into account that his E3 coverage was just garbage. Like, it was really, really bad. And there was people even in the chat saying that, like, why are you doing it this way? And it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. It was really bad coverage. It was really bad. At least from what I heard. I haven't actually watched it. But it was pretty shitty. But it seems like at least a few people there in Phil's little pay pig pen over there, the 3 Ps, is apparently they're voting with their wallet, which is good. So he just can't take a hint. Now he's just saying, oh, because there was no gameplay, you know, everything got derailed, this, that, and the third. No one told you to go over E3 coverage. No one said that it had any inherited value except for what you thought of it. So to be honest with you, you kind of screwed yourself, to be honest. And then it's not like he added anything to it. Most of the shit talking that he did, he'll end up purchasing those games or convincing someone else to purchase those games for him anyway. He's going to play it regardless. Whether it's especially if it's a hype release, especially if other big Twitch streamers / YouTubers, because he's keeping his eye on YouTubers, do it also. Of course he's going to do it. He's a hoe. He's a gaming hoe. So of course he's going to follow along with the trends. It's funny how someone who used to say that influencers, or who does say at times, influencers are bad for the industry and they're bad for gaming, so on and so forth, ends up following is the same individual who actually takes their word at face value on what they say on Twitter, but then wants to turn back around and shit on them because they get games early. At the same time, it's those same game reviews that he's basing his decision on whether he's going to play the game or not. Huh? That's kind of silly, ain't it? Whatever. Whatever. I like to call it the piggy matrix. DSP News. Defiant snort or sniff.
Who say stuff in the stream chat like, or you can get a job, which is what that guy just said and just got permanently banned. This job pays more than any job I've ever had in my entire life, including when I had a full-time office job for 5 years. I still make more doing this job than that. That's just complete ignorant children who say stupid shit like that. They don't seem to understand.
And first of all, big positive announcement for those of you who have not been around the past couple days because of the E3 stuff. We hit the sub goal for the month. We have hit the subscriber goal. That means we are 100% doing the viewer's choice event.
Wow. I really need
to be perfectly honest with you. This right here is just, it's kind of repeating what happened last summer, which is during King Tut's reign. It's kind of working the exact same way. The gifted subs seem to come in heavy between June and August, September-ish. You know what I'm saying? We haven't had a big whale show up yet, at least not that I know of. At least not at the time of me recording this. But, you know, that's the summertime trend. Someone's going to show up eventually. And we'll see what kind of melodrama comes out of that. It's kind of the way things go. That's the way things go. But gifted subs is usually always the it is usually the pretense that leads into that summertime begging, hardcore gaming season, whatever, and more importantly, at least 1 or 2 whales showing up, and some pay piggies, the big pay piggies, start to come up out the mud a little bit and start to kind of splash some money around. So, as far as I see it, this is just the way things are supposed to go as it pertains to the year.
With tips right now.
Yes, I did make several $100s in tips recently. I love this guy. Didn't you just make hundreds of dollars recently? Yes, and that went to bills. As I said, this is the worst financial position I've ever been in my entire life. I need as much support as possible.
This kind of shit needs to come out. This kind of shit needs to be exposed for what it is. It's greed. It's greed. Greed is massively strong. I have no fucking self-control.
Right now in the short term to get through this next week, or else I'm screwed, okay? And by the way, that's cutting corners. That's, already financially, there's things I'm already doing. And I still, I'm still in this position. It sucks. I don't want to bother you guys with personal shit going on in my life, why this is happening. I don't, but just letting you know, I really need the help if you can, all right?
I need help now.
But what corners are you cutting, first off and foremost? Didn't he tell us last year that he had already cut all the corners that he could? And he went ahead and dropped the cable and went to these other 2 or 3 services that probably don't mean much of anything anyway. That he had cut back on certain spending and things like that, and certain type of what's the word I'm looking for? Not necessities, but what's the word? Luxuries. He cut back on all the luxuries, this, that, and the third, despite the fact that he still has time to drink Nestle Kickstarter and he still has his turkey burgers. Like, he couldn't just throw together a turkey and ham sandwich or something like that during the day. Like, some lunch meat would be that bad. Some lunch meat, some cheese, some bread, a little mayo, some lettuce, tomato if he's feeling fancy. I'm just saying, for someone who says that he's cut all these corners and this, that, and the third, he seems to still have plenty of resources. And just to throw this out there for clarity's sake, on his days off, him and Kat, when they go out window shopping, air quotes, I'm sure they actually buy stuff, they go out, they basically eat out the whole day. Breakfast, lunch, and usually dinner. Yeah, it's once a week, but still, I thought he said he's trying to cut back on everything. How much is he going ahead and throwing down on each meal? $30 to $40 per meal, basically? Or per meal, basically. So 30 in the morning, another 30 or 40 in the afternoon. Probably not 30 or 40, maybe like 20, 30 in the afternoon. And then probably at least another 30 at night. Just saying, that would probably be some money that could be put away for something else. I don't know. That's just me being reasonable, though. And the whole thing about he's in the worst financial position that he's ever been in, he told us that same shit last year. And he told us that same thing in 2017. Like I said, this is all semantics to me. And to most of you, too. This is all semantics. It's the same. We've heard this all before. We've heard it all before.
But, I mean, how many times can I yell help before people are like, enough is enough?
Jack the Prick tipped me $1 and says, unban me on your channel because you ramble on for an hour instead of starting gameplay. Okay, time to ignore you. Thanks for the $1 tip.
Toxify it.
Egg Gangster Cheered, he says, would you consider playing Jackbox games with fans again for the viewer's choice? No. Absolutely not. Because all it would be is insane insult and trolling and probably personal attacks against my wife that I'm not going to fucking tolerate. So, I'm not going to do it. Jack the Prick tipped another $2 with more insults. So I'm not going to give him any credit. Tough titties. And then I received another $1 tip from a troll. Wow, all these tips are from trolls today. So we're up to $5 in tips. Wait a minute. It's supposed to be $5, not $1. We're up to $5 in tips, but mostly for trolls. So they get no recognition.
A 100%.
Here's my thing that I really like. He's like, I'm not going to play the game because it's just be a bunch of nasty stuff. It's going to be personal stuff, and they're going to take shots at my wife. That's a nice way, Phil, for you to hide behind Kat's skirt. But at the end of the day, I mean, you can get more troll cheers and stuff out of it. I would think it'd be worthwhile. And for someone who said in a previous broadcast that, he doesn't let any of that stuff affect him. You know what I'm saying? He's impervious to all of that stuff. He just lets it all roll down. Why do you care? To be honest, I'm just saying. They're all a bunch of just stupid kids anyway, right? That's, brain dead idiots. Why would any of that bother you? To be honest. And then it's all about the game, right? It's all about the fun, right? It's not like you were having a whole lot of fun the last time you played it. I mean, you kind of just looked like a dumbass. And the trolls didn't have to do too much to make that happen. So, I don't know. I just think that, it's a really dumb reason to try to hide behind your wife on why you can't do stuff. It seems kind of pathetic.
Toxic person.
Philly Buckeye cheered. He says, my biggest takeaway from yesterday, watching kind of unfunny games, is that you need to be bland, humorless, PC, family-friendly, with no personality on Twitch to make it big and get promoted. Sucks. I'm not going to personally say anything in regards to any other streamers at this point, but what I will say is it certainly seems to me that basically doing exactly what you just described gets you in with game publishers. And once you're in with game publishers, now you get all these crazy opportunities. You get games early. You get exclusive streaming access to play games early, to promote the game. You get the paid shill opportunities to get paid to play a game early, and you can't even give an honest opinion on it. But it doesn't matter because you get paid. You know what I mean?
Who cares if you're being honest about a game if you're getting paid? And then you get all the promotional opportunities. You get promoted. You get to be hosting streams, and you get to do all this stuff. As you guys know, I've never been like that, ever. In my entire time as 11 years as a content creator, I don't pull punches. I'm very honest with all of you.
Now, first off, to be honest, as it pertains to getting access to games early, he's said in a previous broadcast, because he said it in previous pre-stream or something, that he could, or through a game playthrough, sorry. Damn. That he could get access, or he could be put on the list for early access. All he has to do is fill out the form. He won't do it. So that's not an excuse. As it pertains to getting all of the perks and this, that, and the third that comes along with it, be put in that elitist class, if he wants to say it, he could have been there if he wasn't shitting on all of his peers. He chose to do that. He doesn't want to collab with anybody. What the fuck's he talking about with hosting? There have been plenty of bigger streamers who hosted him, and he pissed it away. Was he doing that to be real too? Fuck all that. As it pertains to just how the business works, it's very obvious that he just doesn't understand how it works, or he looks at it as such a pissy practice that he doesn't want any parts of it. Fair enough. Then stop harping on all the advantages that these people have. Stop harping on the fact that, oh, these people can't give an honest opinion and whatnot, so they're being stifled. Stop all that dumb shit, because nobody cares. If you don't care, and allegedly you don't have access to these opportunities like they do, then what do you care about? On top of that, why are you harping about having those opportunities when you detest those very opportunities that they have? What sense does that make? You're going to get mad because these people have opportunities, but yet you say that those opportunities are bad. Then why the fuck are you harping on their opportunities then? That doesn't make a whole lot of sense. It just kind of seems kind of silly, to be perfectly honest with you. And if that's really the case, why don't you get on Twitter and spout that bullshit again and see how far that's going to get you? Oh, it's not. But I thought you were an honest dude and you didn't care about anything. Let's be honest, ladies and gentlemen. He's supposed to be the honest dude on YouTube. He doesn't give a shit about what anybody else says. That's his opinion. Then take that shit to Twitter and say something about it then. Talk about the influencers and say that how they're killing the gaming industry and whatnot, and how they're killing Twitch because they're squashing the little guy. When in actuality, Twitch is kind of just cannibalizing itself. That's kind of what the situation is. And it's been doing that for a very long time. When you see more people in the just chat section than gaming, that should tell you something. I don't know. I don't know. You guys, if you guys really want more on that, go and check out, what's that? L of the Week, or L of the Day, sorry. Or It's a Gundam. They go over that stuff. You know, just saying. GG Reloaded, he's really good for that too. Check those guys out. They'll bring you up to speed. But Twitch is cannibalizing itself, to be honest. And he's so scared that he had to basically ride on the coattails of this dude right here and co-sign to everything he said because he wasn't man enough to spew it himself. So much for being the realest guy on YouTube. When the pig gets his tail pulled, he's too scared to say anything. Just my opinion, of course. DSP News.
What? What? Get the fuck out of here.
And although I'll be honest, over the years I've matured, and I don't necessarily do the kind of ridiculous, immature kind of comedy stuff that I used to do. Admittedly, I've changed. I feel for the better. I still am the kind of very opinionated guy that I'm going to tell you like it is. I'm not going to hold back. I'm going to show rage if I feel like it's legitimized, you know? I'm not going to be this incredibly bland, PC, boring fucking guy. I'm just not going to do it. And I'm never going to. At this point, I've now been doing this for 11 years. I'm not going to change, you know what I mean? And the bottom line is that these people who you now see forced down your throat all the fucking time, there's a reason for it. I mean, I'm gonna be honest, and I definitely don't want to be insulting to anyone, but in particular these Kinda Funny Games guys, I'd never heard of them at all. When all of a sudden, like 4 years ago, they started being shoved down our throats constantly. Like, who the fuck are these guys? I don't know who the fuck they are. Yet, oh look, at the Game Awards, they're getting awards, and, you know, they're getting all this recognition. They're at E3 with high priority and all that. I'm like, who the fuck are they?
My mouth is full of salt.
Here, I can answer that. He doesn't watch anybody else, remember? He doesn't watch other streamers. He doesn't watch other YouTubers. He stays in his own bubble, in his own lane, and he focuses on his content, which is shit, by the way. But he focuses on his own content. So, of course, he didn't know who any of those individuals were. That's why when he came back to Twitch, he can't get a look. There's too many people that beat him. He can stand behind, he can shield himself behind his 11 years all at once. All he wants, I'm sorry. But what the fuck does that really mean if you've been begging for money since 2014, 2015? And then if you go back even further than that, you're lying to people saying that you've never accepted a dime of, or you never earned a dime of money until 2010. Though I've gone over personally, and so has others, have gone over your 30K sub video as well as your Modern Warfare 2 video. And in that video, you explicitly say that people have been giving you very, very large donations, and you very much appreciate it. And those same people asked to be anonymous. So you're just kind of shouting it out as a blanket statement because they didn't want their actual names put out there. That was in 2009. That's when you still had a job. That's when allegedly all this was a hobby. Just saying. And then when you got fired in 2010 or laid off, whatever, you said that, hey guys, I need donations and whatnot because, buying these games, I bought a lot of games, I played a lot of games this year, and that shit gets really, really expensive, and now that I don't have a job, I'm going to really need the support right now, so on and so forth. That was in 2010. That was right after you got laid off. That was literally the day that you got laid off. So you have, almost from the beginning, you relying on people financially as well as actual support, like real support. Like he expected them to watch the videos, click the ads, sent them out to lambast people, sent them out to harass companies that gave him false copyright strikes, air quotes, so on and so forth. Is that what you're proud of in your 11 years? You think that just because you've been around for a long time and you spammed a shitload of videos that means anything? It don't. Nobody cares but you. And you can keep shilling it to these kids that means anything, but it don't. You can keep shilling it to these people who you're robbing of their fucking disability checks, but and make it seem to them like it matters, but it don't. And I'm not even going to get into what you're doing with that whole disability check thing, because that's really fucked up in its own right. But we'll talk about that at a later time and date. DSP News.
Do you show your toxic jealousy and just how petty you fucking are when you react to something like that?
I've never heard of them. And all of a sudden, overnight, they're like the guys in the gaming industry to get all the attention. Now, by the way, I just want you to understand where I'm coming from. This is not a statement that I feel that I should be, in line with them and their popularity at all. I don't believe that at all. I'm my own guy, and, I basically don't ever think I'm going to be popular. All right, just being honest here, I don't. I'm not going to be anywhere near as popular if I ever was. I'm okay with that, as long as I can just make a living doing what I love. I don't really care. I'm not looking to be the figurehead like they are. I'm not. I'm just wondering, how on earth did these guys come out of literally out of nowhere, never fucking heard a word from any of them, don't know who the fuck they are, and all of a sudden, oh my god, look, they're the top promoted stream, and everything on YouTube there is getting millions of views, and they're at E3, the top guys. If I remember the big controversial part where this started, is when they got an early copy of Metal Gear Solid 5, years ago, so that was what, 2015? They got an early copy of Metal Gear Solid 5, and they were playing it, and they were playing it horribly. Like, they were terrible at the fucking game. And everyone was like, why the fuck did they get the game early? Like, who are they to get this game early and be able to get thousands of views on streams and extra money because they get to play this fucking game early when everyone else has to wait to play the game, right? Now, this was 4 years ago. Now, it's become super duper commonplace that the elitist group of content creators and streamers get everything early because they have become the golden boys of the game industry. These guys at Kinda Funny Games are like the golden boys. They get everything early, they play everything early, they get exclusive invites and access to every fucking event for gaming. Like, they're the in guys. Why? Can anyone actually explain it? Seriously, can anyone fucking explain it?
I mean, I'll be honest.
Now, let's jump in for a minute. So, I'm not going to be as relevant as I once was. I'm never going to be big. I don't want to be a figurehead. I just want to make enough to pay my bills. That sounds very ambitious, but all right. He just wants to make a living. Fair enough. But then I want to know where these people came from. I want to know who these people are. I want to know who promoted them and put them in position. What sense does that make? If you're going to put yourself back into a box, then shut the fuck up and get back in the box. Like, you don't have a right to ask questions if you're barely making a living, which is basically what you're doing. So what are we doing? Pocket checking somebody else if you can't make a living yourself. Seems kind of silly if you ask me. Just saying. On top of that, it also makes you seem like you're very envious of the position that they're in. And if that's the case, you could just say that, you know, you're a jealous piggy and that's that. But you're trying to sit there and take the moral high ground like, oh, I don't have any hate against them or this, that, and the third. I just want to know where they came from. Why the fuck does that even matter to you? Because theoretically, it doesn't even affect you. The reason why I say that, ladies and gentlemen, is because they're on such a plateau and make all kinds of what Phil likes to call fuck you money that they're never going to be a threat to Phil, nor is Phil a threat to them. Actually, that's not true. If Phil was to catch wind that he was talking shit about one of them, they might clown him on a stream. Actually, now that I think about it, Twitch has this thing, right? It's kind of like this round table shit that they do. A bunch of these different streamers do it like on a weekly basis. If Phil's name came up in something like that, he'd probably be fucked. He'd probably be fucked hard if that was the case. The reason why is because you would have, like I said, you have like, oh, I don't know, like maybe 10. You usually have 10 streamers up there, all well known and whatnot, all with extremely large fan bases in their own right. If even out of the, 6 to 8 to 10 of them, if even only 3 or 4 of them, of these streamers and their fan bases started to look into Phil, he'd be screwed. He'd be royally screwed because he wouldn't be able to touch any of them because they're all partners. You know what I mean? Maybe they're all partners. Kind of like how Phil can't necessarily do anything to Bad Bunny, despite the fact that I don't know exactly what the deal is. I guess one of Phil's mods are going at Bad Bunny for whatever reason. I don't know. I'll look into that as more comes out. But you have that particular situation. And that's not good. That's not good at all, depending on how Bad Bunny decides to play that out. And that's if she can even really do anything, because despite the fact that she's partnered and she brings in way more viewership and so on and so forth, she's been banned a couple times. That kind of brings down her effectiveness as it pertains to another partner. You got to understand that's kind of how that works. It's like being part of like a medieval brotherhood. Theoretically, everybody has standing outside of like the real elders. And on top of that, you need to kind of have a clean slate before you can go after anybody else. But that's subjective. You know, like I said, you can talk to some of the previous people or watch some of the content of the previous people that I mentioned, and then you can get a better idea. But it's, yet again, why do you care? Why do you care? Especially, ladies and gentlemen, when Phil calls these people sellouts, shills, muppets, so on and so forth. Why do you care about where they're at now and how they even got there? It doesn't matter. You've already come to a predetermined notion in your own head on that they sold out to get there. And they just shill out the children. So why should any of that matter? That, I mean, even for his age, it's not even really his age that sets him back. It's just him as a person. He's outdated. He's old. He's mentally old. You know what I mean? He doesn't believe in jumping on trends. He doesn't believe in participating with anything. He doesn't want to collab with anybody. He doesn't want to do anything except for people to give him money for the mere fact of existing. And then, I mean, no one's going to pay you. Well, they do, kind of. But no one's going to come in and drop $30,000 on you because you've been around for 11 years. It just doesn't mean anything. Just my opinion, of course.
Any other normal human, yes, am I jealous of certain people and of people who are successful and whatever? Of course I am. Of course I'm going to have jealousy. That's a natural human emotion for those who have more than you. You're always going to have that natural kind of jealousy of those who maybe have, been more successful or things like that.
Why? What do they do that's so good? What do they do that's so amazing and different that they've earned that distinction? And can anyone answer that with a legit answer besides no, they've just been chosen to be it? You know what I mean? And that's what it seems like right now. We've got a gaming industry where we've got top content creators who have been handpicked by the gaming industry, the publishers themselves, to be the top promoters of games. And I kind of have to agree with you that, you know, when you're watching E3 and you're seeing these particular people are being chosen to host and do it, and you're like, but you watch it for 5 minutes, you're like, I didn't laugh, I wasn't entertained, they didn't add any insight to anything. They're just a bunch of fucking dudes, you know, basically talking nonsense, fluff content, because they're so goddamn PC and boring, right? That, why did they get this opportunity? I don't know. And I can't answer that. You know? I've been around for 11 years, I've strived to be different and to be an individual and to be a very opinionated, polarized guy, and to never pull punches, and the gaming industry doesn't like that. They don't want that. They don't want that as a top guy. They want bland. They want cookie cutter, bland, safe, PC, you know, the most, you know, unoffensive, boring crap possible. That's what they want. That's what they've selected. So, you can support that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Or you can't. It's up to you. I don't know what to tell you.
Enjoying the chill vibe.
Now, oh, now here's the funny part. He has said something. Anybody of you guys who have actually watched any of Phil's malarkey for any period of time, you kind of know where I'm going with this. Phil said the exact same thing for the YouTube community too back in the day. Hence the reason why he said he's never going to be a million sub channel, because all of YouTube had handpicked the people that they wanted to be on top, and he wasn't meant to be there because he didn't want to make fluff content for the kiddies. He didn't want to dye his hair and do all this crazy shit. Yada, yada, yada. He said all that same stuff for YouTube. Now that he's going over there and saying that same thing for Twitch, even though most of the people that he described don't even fall into that category, to be honest. I mean, certainly none of the thoughts over there, you know what I'm saying, fall into that category, and trust me, none of them are PC. At all. And I'm not even talking about Snapchat pictures. I'm just saying some of the regular shit they got on Twitter. So, and their Instagram gets even wilder if you want to go over to that mess. So, yeah, that's not exactly how it works. And at the same time, though, too, advertisers and publishers want to work with people who can get the most eyes on them. Phil, tell me why you can only get 500 to 600 people on your streams at any given time. And how it declines after the first hour. Your second stream is even more of a joke. You know what I mean? Last time I checked, last time I saw, when you were being rebroadcast by, I don't know, one of the big three, you had maybe 130, 140 people at night. Where were the rest of them at? You can't hold an audience. Just like how you can't sell anything, but we'll talk about that at a later time. Because Mrhuth Stuff has a video about that I'd like to go over. Just like you can't sell anything, though. You can't hold an audience. You can't hold any attention. It's funny how you say these people are PC and they're bland, and you don't understand why people watch them, this, that, and the third. They don't add anything to the conversation. They're not making any real points, so on and so forth. People feel the same way about you, and been saying that for a very, very long time. So you could talk about you being over-opinionated and this, that, and the third, which really means you just bash everything. And no company wants that, to be honest. Unless you're on their payroll and you're doing that against other competitors. Corporate assassins, if you will, or corporate hitmen, but it's a bit more sophisticated than that. But you don't want to play ball anyway, so what do you care about any of that? Yet again, we're getting into a business realm. Business isn't what you do. You're not there for business, Phil. You're there to sit there, play those games, and share your experiences. God gosh. So why do you care about how someone else conducts their business? Which that is very much a business. If you want to sit there and be a dumbass and just play video games for a living and expect to be paid large amounts of money for existing for 11 years, that's on you. But for everybody else, there's the business aspect of it. You actually have to work to do this. I talked about that on the second channel with a recent video. So what's the problem? You got people out here that are actually working. They're actually doing something. And yet Phil Burnell looks at all of them because, oh, look at all the advantages they have. It's just given to them, this, that, and the third. Not realizing that these people had to build up relationships. These people had to sit down and actually have conference calls with these individuals to get some of this stuff worked out. Especially in the long term. Because everybody wants to be paid what they're worth. And if any of these individuals are under contract, you're going to want to renegotiate a contract every once in a while. But yet again, we're talking about business, and that's not what Phil does. Phil don't know shit about that. His business degree is a farce. Let's continue. DSP News.
Sniffmaster 2000, which is a Detractor meme. Not for me, but for someone else, tipped $1, and I'm not going to read the stupid message that they put up, so thanks again. I don't understand why these people think I'm going to read the crap that they're putting up just because they tipped me. They're going to be stupid. But thanks for the tip. Big Bill's Bob Nuts. What the fuck? Subscribe to the channel. Thank you for the sub. Walgrange here says, as much as you want to complain on others who used to get perks as well, like going to E3 some years ago, would you argue that your situation is different? You do realize that when I went to E3, that was an anomaly. Okay, it really was. It was 100% an anomaly. The reason that I got sent to E3 was because they wanted to promote a shitty game, and I didn't even really promote the game because they fucked up the launch of it. So I'm pretty sure they didn't like that I went to there, I played their game. The game wasn't bad, but the whole launch of it was botched and fucked up, so I never even eventually played it or covered it.
Wait, didn't he just say it was a shitty game? But now he's saying the game's not that bad. What? Alright, what? Instead,
I just covered E3 in depth that year, and did more video coverage than anyone else who went under Machinima's umbrella. And then I was never invited back. And by the way, it wasn't that, oh, we're not inviting content creators this year. They just didn't invite me back after that. Because I didn't play their game. I didn't promote their shitty game. I basically talked very honestly about the launch of the game and how it was completely botched and ruined. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, there was a game called Hawken. And it was a mech combat game that was free to play on PC. And it was supposed to release. They hyped it up. It was at E3. That was the reason I was sent there, to promote the game. I played it, and I put a couple of videos out of it. And then it was supposed to come out in the fall, and it didn't. It got delayed and delayed and delayed, to the point, but when it finally came out, no one cared about it anymore. The game had zero momentum. And I was told that if I promoted the game when it came out, I would get paid extra money. And I told them, no, I'm not going to, because you had your chance, and I don't care about the game anymore. And after that, I was never invited to do anything ever again for Machinima. So there you go. Because I was honest about the game, I basically was kind of blacklisted from being able to do any events for Machinima ever again.
Wait. But he went over there. Wait. He was invited to go to E3 because he was supposed to promote this game. He said that he didn't want to do that because he thought the game was shit, even though he said the game was not that bad of a game, but the game is shit. Spent all of his time on E3 putting out 100+ videos or some crazy shit that I think is the actual lore on fucking E3. I think John filmed the majority of that. That's the reason why he had John go with him. Anyway, filmed all this footage, came back. The game ended up getting delayed. Machinima comes back to him and is like, hey, we need you to basically give us some momentum to help promote this game yet again, because now they're ready to finally come out. Phil's like, no, I don't want to do that. And they're like, all right, fine. And then they cut you off. Because you said no, like, let's be honest. Let's go, not even be honest. Let's go ahead and play Phil's game. Okay? Piggy knows this now. So, because you supposedly were honest, you thought the game was shit, despite the fact you just said the game wasn't that bad. But whatever, you said the game was shit, and when they came back to you and asked you to promote it again, you say, no, you're not going to do that, you lost interest, whatever. You thought that just automatically gives you a pass? How exactly did you explain it to them that you didn't want to do it? How did you say it? How did you word it? If nothing else. And more importantly than that, if your initial coverage of E3 was so expansive, was so good, and everybody went to those parties, because I remember in his Machinima video, this is after he finally told us what happened, but we had already figured it out by that point. He said that while everybody went to the party for the video game and was partying it up and doing everything, he was out there working, catching all this footage, which i.e. really means that John was out there doing all the work. So and then he said that a rep from Machinima even contacted him and said, wow, man, you did a great job, this, that, and the third, you did all this, everybody else went out there and treated it like a vacation, and you actually did real work. Look at all these videos, this, that, and the third. And then you said he never invited you back. But here's the thing, though, if your coverage of E3 was so good, even if you weren't willing to play ball on this particular game, if your coverage for E3 was so good, then why isn't it that they didn't invite you back? Now, I've always gone by the premise that they invited him that one time. Now he's saying that they invited him that one time on the premise that it was only for this game. He could have asked for another chance to go back. But because Phil wasn't offered, he wasn't catered to, now the new pig lore is that, oh, I was blacklisted? Really, they're going to blacklist you for a game that wasn't even a AAA title? I call pig shit on that. Sorry, that doesn't sound right. Especially back in the early days like that, and you have someone like Phil who can be bought, and you can't say that he couldn't have been bought, because if he was really as real as he says he is, and he didn't like certain practices, this, that, and the third, he wouldn't have never taken that trip to E3 in the first place. Even though he'll throw out, oh, I've had to pay for John to go, this, that, and a third. That's on you. That was a personal luxury because allegedly your back hurt so bad that you couldn't do all of that on your own. So you chose to pay John's way. And theoretically, John worked off that. He worked off whatever you would consider he owed you because he did all the real work anyway. So let's not act like his morals really holds any type of ground in any of this. Just saying.
And now I can talk about that because now I'm not with Machinima anymore and they don't even fucking exist anymore. So I can actually talk about it publicly. Yeah, that's really what happened was they sent me to E3 to cover this game. I went to this party where people were playing the game and I played it a few times. I actually liked the game and I said, cool, when it comes out, I'll cover it. Now I'm going to cover E3. And I did more E3 coverage than anyone else there from Machinima. They even admitted so. They said, wow, you really worked your ass off covering E3 and thank you for that. It makes us look good. And then when Hawken came out, I didn't cover it because it got delayed too many times. And by the time it came out, no one cared about it anymore. And I told them as much. I said, they fucked up the game. I don't care about it. By the way, it was actually Woody's gamertag who basically kind of cannibalized the whole campaign. What he did is he waited for Hawken to come out and he put out an insane amount of videos of Hawken and made all the money on the campaign. So everyone else who wanted to cover Hawken made no money and he made all of it apparently.
How does that even make sense? Like that doesn't... What? How does that make sense exactly? That out of all the people that were putting out videos covering this game, that Woody, who obviously didn't put out the most and whatnot, but because of Woody, was using a special tag that was afforded to anybody who was covering the game at that time, when it finally did release, he made all the money and nobody made anything. So Machinima just didn't pay anybody any money for that month or two? Like, think about what you're saying before you say it. No one made any money on it. So they basically did all those videos for free. Is that what you're saying? And how would you know? Because you weren't covering the game anyway, remember? You said you didn't care about the game anymore. No one in your audience, I guess, didn't care about the game anymore. So how is it that you know that Woody did all of this when you weren't, when the game wasn't even on your radar? I guess someone's going to have to go back and see if he actually put any videos out around that time. Did he actually play the game, and did he put any videos out around that time? I would assume, but if not, he's just blaming other people just to do it. And even still, it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense that Woody was able to get all the money from everybody and no one else. It just seems kind of stupid.
Understand? That's what happened because what they were doing was the way the campaign worked. If you did videos about Hawken under the Machinima banner, you could use a certain tag in the description of your videos and stuff like that, and you would basically make extra money. So what Woody's gamertag did is, he already had like a ton of videos ready to go, and as soon as the campaign launched, he uploaded like non-stop coverage of Hawken on his channel, and apparently made thousands of dollars off of Hawken, and no one else under Machinima made anything.
Now think about how stupid that sounds. Woody wasn't even the biggest person, he was never the biggest person on Machinima. And even if he had a jump start on everybody else, which is just being smart to be honest with you, that sounds like something Phil would have done. But the whole concept of no one else made any money on it, or sorry, didn't make any money on that game when it finally came out just sounds stupid. But then again, if they're all kids, or if Phil thinks the people in his cult are stupid too, he can feed them this. The devil's in the details. And I wonder what Woody would feel, what Woody would have to say about something like this if he actually heard DSP say it. He probably wouldn't say anything because he's too focused on wings anyway. But then again, he has a good reason. So, yeah. And you're holding on to this after, what was that, 4 or 5 years ago? And you still holding on to that? Oh, is Woody going to be the next person? Is he going to be your next pro Jared, Phil? Is that what it is? We're going to go after Woody next? Because he ripped you off on a shitty game? Someone better tell Woody. You better watch out. Because Phil's, the gouty viper may have Woody in his sights. You got to be careful, Woody. Godspeed, sir. Godspeed.
So that's the real reality of me going to E3 is they sent me there to cover a game that basically was completely flopped at launch. When it finally released, one guy made all the money. And I basically was like, this is the most fucked up campaign ever. Why would I want to be a part of stuff like this in the future? And then I was never involved ever again with that stuff. So.
Oh, I'm having a child today. Daddy's coming. Daddy, where are you, Daddy? Is Daddy coming? Daddy make us dinner? Well, Dad, you spank us and chastise us?
But anyway, no, I'm not part of any elitist group that got special priority. In fact, that was one of the very few times ever that I got any kind of anything out of stuff. I would say the only other time that I got any kind of special treatment was when I went to, when I got the early copy of Fallout 4, which I'm surprised the shit out of me. I don't know why I got it. I had requested a copy of it, but I had never actually gotten anything free before, and getting that game free was like, it blew me away. And ever since then, ever since I played the game, I never really got anything ever again. That was it. So, 2 things ever in my 11 years that I got priority. I went to E3 once, and I got an early copy of Fallout 4. So, there you go. That's the 2 things in 11 years that I ever got. Unlike these golden boys who you see constantly promoted everywhere, constantly getting all the early opportunities. They're the elitist group that game publishers have chosen to be their figureheads, the most bland guys ever. Okay?
Oh my god.
Wait. Now I know you're lying on that because one, he's got quite a few games for free, first off and foremost. But let's talk about those free controllers that you ended up getting and whatnot. You ended up getting 2 of those. That was free, as well as your little free energy drink and whatnot. That was something that was afforded to you because of what you did. Didn't they invite you out to PAX? Now, granted, PAX now, anybody can go to PAX, but back in the day, though, you were invited to go out to PAX with Panda. And obviously, that didn't happen because, I don't know, you blamed it on her because she got sick or some silly shit. Some shit like that. So there's that. So now you're saying in your 11 years, you only got 1 game for free. Even though this idiot has told us in the past that Machinima used to have this thing, right? Where they would send you guys out they would send their partners like a survey, and other Machinima partners can co-sign to this. They used to send them out like a survey every month or every couple months with a list of all of the games, the new games that are going to be coming out soon, and ask what games they would be interested in. And a lot of the people that I had watched when they went over this, they would check all of them, and more often than not, they end up getting all of them. Some of them were more selective. You know, I want maybe these games here. I'll check these few games. And Machinima even went to the extra effort to be like, do you want it on, for example, PS3, or do you want it on the Xbox? So on and so forth. Phil has admitted that they sent those things out to him. I think that's how he ended up getting Fallout, as well as a couple of other games. And more importantly than that, for Phil anyway, he got screwed out of that deal because right around the time that they were offering him free games, he had a contract negotiation come up. He took less money to get the free games that they were offering to him, and then as soon as they end up locking his new contract in, he didn't get free games anymore. Now, keep in mind, he could have asked for free games, but because Machinima wouldn't roll out the carpet to him and actually offer him free games anymore, he would actually have to put in some effort. He automatically assumed that, oh, well, I guess they're not doing free games anymore, when in actuality, people were still getting free games. Some of them had to ask, some of them didn't. So there were some priority there. He just didn't do it because he's an idiot.
Just shut up and stop whining. Oh.
Mr. Terrahawk cheered. He says it's like game creators are afraid of honesty. They are. Because God forbid, imagine me getting a game early, playing it, and saying, wow, this game is okay. Well, that's it. That's, God forbid someone's honest. You know what I mean? They know I'm going to be honest. I've always been honest. So they don't want me. They don't, Or God forbid, imagine I got an early copy of Lords of the Fallen. Okay, then. Egg Gangster cheered. He says the trolls are out in full force. You must have melted some snowflakes during your E3 coverage. No nice names, cheers. And what kind of thing can people wake you up for? What? I have no idea what you just said.
Real as any human.
What
is how I talk.
Tidings. I would hate to think we invited you back into our ranks, only for you to fail.
Oh my god. Jose Cuervo tipped $1. He says the reason Greg Miller and Too Many Games is so popular, I think you mean Kinda Funny Games, is because of their dreamy eyes. It's easy to get lost in them. Would you like to present at E3 one day? The only time that I would consider presenting at E3, alright, is if I was actually allowed to be honest about whatever I was presenting. Whether it was hosting a stream, like the E3 stream or whatever, or if I was introducing a game or whatever, I wouldn't, but listen, you gotta let me be honest and talk exactly what I think about this, okay? And they would not want that. Imagine me at the Ubisoft press conference, I'm the host, and I'm like, man, it's great to see those dancers come out and waste 15 minutes of everyone's time, but now here's something you actually want to see. I mean, I'd probably be applauded as the best host ever, but also they would never invite me back anyway, so. There you go.
That doesn't make you honest. That makes you obnoxious. That's what that is, to be honest with you. Like, what kind of stupidity is that? And let's break into this. As it pertains to someone who presents or who's bringing somebody out or being whatever, a host of a conference, no one's asking you what your fucking opinion is. Read whatever is on either the cue card or the teleprompter, and move the fuck up out the way when the real people who are important come out. Period. You don't have any dog in that fight. There's nothing that you need to be honest about. Shut the fuck up and stick to the script. Stick to the position and play your part. No one needs you to say anything else outside of that. Why do you think they put so many random people in that position each year? Because they don't need anybody who's opinionated. They need someone who can go ahead and stick to the script. And possibly be funny. Which, it's hit or miss, to be honest with you. What do you mean, be honest? What is there for you to be honest about? Are you gonna shit on a game in front of its developer? Or in front of the people who have spent multiple years doing it? If that's the case, you deserve to get whatever comes to you after that, which will probably be a whole lot of nothing. And then all they're going to do is take that shit to social media and have other people shit on you. It's a respect thing, to be honest with you. But then, here you go, ladies and gentlemen. This comes back to one of the fundamental issues with Dspnews. He wants to find the negativity in everything and point that shit out. I'm sorry, I didn't realize you and Anita were wearing the same type of panties. But under the circumstances, I can kind of see it. But even Anita, or at least her handlers, have an idea of when to do that shit. You can't just bash everything just for the sake of bashing it. You can't hide behind the honesty angle and act like that means anything. It don't. This is a business. What the... Ugh. Ugh.
Alright, continuing on, Dusty Dead tipped $1. He says, you didn't read my last message. You're right, because it was stupid. And I already read it. I already read your nonsense last week, and I'm not wasting my time with it.
It's not time to be a toxic dick.
Nox tipped me $1. Says, did you get Rock Band 4 in the Order 1886 for free? I know I did get Rock Band 4 for free. The weirdest thing is I didn't ask for it. I never asked for Rock Band 4 at all. And they just sent it to me. That's how desperate they were, I guess, to promote their game. I didn't ask for it, and I got it.
Yeah, they must have been pretty desperate to send it to Darkside Phil. But either which way, though, he said in his 11 years, that was the only 2 things he had. So thanks, Phil, for admitting that you lied. Good work there, Piggy.
I guess I might as well do something with it. The Order 1886, I don't even remember. I really don't remember at all if I got it for free. Maybe I did. There was one year, I want to say it was either 2000, I think it was 2006. Excuse me, that's stupid. I think it was 2016. Boy, did I screw that up. Where I think I got a bunch of free stuff. Some of which
Wait. So how did we go from a free trip to E3 and that you supposedly did a bunch of work on, and yet they still didn't invite you back, and then getting Fallout 4, was it Fallout 4? Getting Fallout 4 early. How did it go from that to now Dance Dance, I guess it was Dance Dance Revolution or Just Dance or whatever, him catching that and the Order to now, oh, now I got a bunch of different games. Huh? Like, did you forget what you just said only a couple of minutes previous? See, this is what happens this is why he shouldn't do pre-streams anymore. He should just stop talking altogether. He hurts himself. He's almost in a hurry to put the noose around his neck. I didn't want pig neck this early in the week. I really didn't. I really wasn't. I wasn't really interested in doing that. I thought maybe we could have some pork ribs maybe later on in the week. You know, I don't want to give you guys too much pork, but Jesus Christ.
4, and some of which I didn't.
Shilling. It's gross. And I'm constantly just shilling things non-stop during everything that I do. So it's because I just care about money. That I just can't help it. I'm so just enveloped in greed and money. I need money.
And it was so weird. That was the year that Machinima, like, was sending free stuff out of nowhere. And that's what I mean, like, Fallout 4. I remember at one point during the year, they gave a list of games. And it was like a list of, like, 50 games. And they were like, out of these games, honestly, which ones are you interested in? And I think I checked off maybe 10. and I ended up getting, like, some games that I asked for, and other games that I didn't. They just sent them. And I was like, what am I supposed to do with this? Like, Rock Band was one of them. I got it. I was like, what am I supposed to do with this? Like, I didn't ask for this, and I ended up doing a stream of it, but...
Yeah, my bad. It was Rock Band, not Dance Dance. Sorry about that.
Pretty weird.
Smash Me tipped me $1. He says, here's some advice. Stop talking. Get on with the fucking game. Alright, well, just because you said that, Smash Me, alright, what I'm going to now do is I'm actually going to talk for another 25 minutes. There you go. Only because you had to be a dick. How about that? Don't buy me! I suck! What pasta do you prefer? I prefer a penne. Oh! Easy to eat. Oh!
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, so... What? Like, there were so many lies there, though. We went from having benefiting from an anomaly to getting Fallout 4 to getting just a Rock Band to getting a bunch, now having a bunch of games. And this is the real funny part. Oh, they sent me a list with 50 games on. I only clicked 10. Or I only, sorry, clicked. Why do I keep saying this shit? I only checked off like 10 of them. Really? I would assume Phil would have grabbed everything that was on the PSN, or what that was on PS3 and Xbox respectively. He probably caught all that. And like I said, that's not something that's not the first time they've done something like that. I think they did something like that periodically. But I like how we only went from having these two little things. One was I was given that early, and the other one was an anomaly, to now I was getting all these free games. But the caveat is, oh, I didn't ask for those. I didn't remember those things. I don't know. They just sent it to me because the publishers were desperate. And yet he still played it. Okay, whatever. Whatever. Oh my god, he really does need to stop talking. He's just so bad at what he does. Let's see, as for the money situation, he's a bottomless pit, to be honest with you. It is what it is. And there's nothing really he can ever really do about that. He's made quite a bit of mistakes. He'll keep making them because it's in his nature. And as long as people will pay for his stupidity, he'll keep being stupid. Pure and simple. It doesn't get no more straightforward than that. You know what I'm saying? If people are going to reward you for your ignorance, then what are you going to do? You're going to keep being ignorant. People tend to keep doing what they're doing if they feel like they're benefiting from it. So, it is what it is. You know, the way Phil does is the way that Phil's been doing it. There's no real reason to stop. So, that's just my personal opinion on that one. To be honest. But, I guess we'll see. Time will tell on that one. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for listening in. I very much appreciate it. And, hopefully I'll see you guys, for the next broadcast. God willing. We'll have to wait and see. Time will tell. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much for listening in. And this is DSP News. Always late, never breaking. Unreliable coverage that you can't count on. Oh yes, a GTG Network and Productions. For the Snort Report, I'm your host, /anchor, GTG. And I'm signing off. Take care of yourselves, guys. End the broadcast. Defiant sniff.